Oh, snap. It's time to yap. And I'm your host, Big C, and welcome to another episode of Just Yapping. Today's episode, we'll be talking about vacations, staycations, and planning for all those good events. Vacations, right? Who doesn't want to go on a vacation? Everybody wants to go on a vacation because it's a time to relax, get some sunshine, depending on where you go, right? Because sometimes it's not always sunny. You can be on vacation, but it's not always sunny. But that's what we look forward to, going somewhere where it's nice, tranquil. You can get a good vacation, a good bang for your buck, right? So vacations sometimes could be fun. Vacations could be sometimes difficult to plan, and vacations can actually just, it can just be a nightmare sometimes, but we're not going to get there, right? So in these, it all depends on what vacation you want to go on, right? Because one, it all depends on if you have little guys, right? Because the age of the children that you go with, if you do have children, depend on what type of vacation you want, right? Or if it's going out with the boys, right, to somewhere to play some golf for a couple of days, a quick getaway, or um, maybe going out with the girls. Maybe the girls are planning something, or or the teens. The teens they go away for spring break, but that's a different type of vacation. Vacations with your family, right? It sometimes can take up to a week to plan. It can sometimes take up to a month to plan, or in other cases, a few years, right? Because it all depends on you. Some people are really picky about the time, the date, the location, and that all plays a role, right? Because you have to understand places where you go, right? Like here in the United States, the majority of the people who live on the East Coast, right? In the wintertime when it gets cold, like let's go from October to, let's say, late February, March, it's still cold. And it's surprisingly, as you go south, it gets cold as well. So people like vacationing now because it's warmer down in South in Florida and the Keys and like Puerto Rico and places like that. It gets out. Well, mind you, in Puerto Rico, in the Caribbean, it's warm all year round, right? It's hot all year round. But in some instances like Florida, which is close, people like going to Florida, and it's still a little chilly. You might have to bring a little jacket. So that's the part of planning. You got to make sure that you bring the right clothing. But again, going back, when you go down to a place like Florida, right? You if you have the little guys, you can go to Disney, you can go to Busch Gardens, you can go to SeaWorld, you can go to all these places. And it all depends. All that stuff takes planning, strategic planning, when you have little guys with you, because they all, if the kids like certain rides, and I'm one, and I'll tell you right now, I'm one. When we used to go on vacation with my little guys, daddy don't do roller coasters, and daddy's I don't do those things. Maybe once in a blue moon I'll get on here, but if we go to like a water park, that totally different story. Pop is all up in there, okay? Um, and that's one thing you have to usually it's kind of see, because it all depends on you. Some people are really picky about the time, the date, the location, and that all plays a role, right? Because you have to understand places where you go, right? Like here in the United States, the majority of the people who live on the East Coast, right? In the wintertime when it gets cold, like let's go from October to, let's say, late February, March, it's still cold. And it's surprisingly, as you go south, it gets cold as well. So people like vacationing now because it's warmer down in South in Florida and the Keys and like Puerto Rico and places like that. It gets out. Well, mind you, in Puerto Rico, in the Caribbean, it's warm all year round, right? It's hot all year round. But in some instances like Florida, which is close, people like going to Florida, and it's still a little chilly. You might have to bring a little jacket. So that's the part of planning. You got to make sure that you bring the right clothing. But again, going back, when you go down to a place like Florida, right? You if you have the little guys, you can go to Disney, you can go to Busch Gardens. You can go to SeaWorld. You can go to all these places. And, it all depends. All that stuff takes planning, strategic planning when you have little guys with you, because they all, if the kids like certain rides, and I'm one, and I'll tell you right now, I'm one. When we used to go on vacation with my little guys, daddy don't do roller coasters, and daddy's I don't do those things. Maybe once in a blue moon I'll get on here, but if we go to like a water park, that totally different story. Pop is all up in there, okay? Um, and that's one thing you have to usually it's kind of see, because growing up I had my older son, right? And every time we would go, it would only be like, oh, mom or dad, come with us. And, yeah, my wife would just suck it up and, yeah, let's go. Me, he used to go on those big rides. Same thing now with my other son, my younger son. He's the same thing. And sometimes I feel really, really bad because you have to entertain them as well. And sometimes it was always good to like try and go with a cousin or a family member that they were the same age or something. So then that way they can, have fun together. So vacations sometimes can be hard to plan, especially again with kids, and all depends on where you go, right? Um, for the adults, I would say last year, yeah, I would say last year. I won't say the name of the cruise line. It was my first cruise line like trip. I've been on a cruise before, but I've been on a cruise from Florida to the local island for the night and then back. Really, it was like just an overnight trip, which was okay. uh I, being when I was being in the military like that, I was always not too fond of the water. I could swim, I could do all that stuff, but it's just being out in the sea for a long time really gets to me. But I sucked it up. My family planned a nice cruise. We embarked out of New York and we went down toward the south to the Caribbean. I do have to say, and this is for me, I don't want to be a party pooper and mess it up for everybody out there that's planning a cruise. But if you plan a cruise for the first time, if you've never been on a ship, I'm going to tell you right now, I had a great time. Okay, I'm not knocking it. I had a fantastic time. It was wonderful. The ship was great. The shows were great. All the activities that they had for the kids, mind you, we went with 15 of us. It was our family, my brother-in-law's family, and his friends and their kids. It was awesome. Fast forward a day or two at sea, I started feeling it, just like a couple other people on the ship were feeling it, and I had the Dramamine patches, I had the bracelet pack. It was just wasn't a good feeling, and it was just the rough seas of the Atlantic, right? But if you like that stuff, if you're like a fishing guy or fishing female or do whatever, you're good. Have fun. You're going to have a great time. The food was fantastic. The shows were great. The kids were entertained because on the top level, they had water slides and this and that. And they had shows for the kids and they had entertainment for the kids. And they had places where they had like clubs for teen clubs, young adult, all that stuff. And the cool part is that we all had bracelets. So they had your photo, the photo of the parents that belonged to that child. So if the child were to leave without anybody knowing, there's all these alarms that go off, and then your parents' photos, and they'll call you and be like, hey, your kid was trying to get out, and we didn't let them, obviously, whatever. But it was really, really cool. And the thing is that, especially for my kid and the rest of the teens that were in there, they didn't close that place down to 11 o'clock at night. So when he was like, hey, mom, dad, I'm gonna go have a great time, be careful, please. All right, we'd walk him to the little venue and stuff, and we'd leave. Awesome. Guess what? This is mommy and daddy time, and mommy and daddy need time alone. Time alone, have a little romantic time and stuff, and then it ends at 11 because you gotta go back and get your kids. But if you've never been on a cruise before, I personally had a really, really great time going from one place to another. Like we went from New York to Florida, and unless you have events going on, going to Disney or visiting places like that, it was really cool. But we stayed for a while, and then we left. We went to the Bahamas, which was nice. I didn't care for it, but I only because of the locals in the area was really run down. I was pretty shocked by that. But anyway, really nice people though. And They had a private island, which really wasn't, to par. Again, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it really wasn't. The water was fantastic. You can see from all the way through, all the way clear. It's like a swimming pool. It's really great. Really, really, really hot. So you have to protect yourselves, like with your lotion, whatever, SPFs and all that other protectors. You have to be really careful, because if you're not, the sun, especially in the Caribbean, the sun will eat you up. It will. So really protect yourselves and protect your little guys, right? But again, they had great food. They had great events. They had white night, which everybody dressed in white. They had parties. They had DJs. They had dancing lessons, salsa lessons, everything. It was awesome. But for me, would I do it again? No, I wouldn't do it again. It was only because it was just my feeling. But again, we're not here talking about me. I was just giving you an example. If you plan a cruise, my thing is that if you plan a family vacation, a cruise would probably be best, only because you're all together, you're in one spot, you know where everybody is, they have all types of event foods up. But if you're a person like me and you like going to a vacation spot and driving somewhere or going out to dinner or doing that, that's what I like to do. I like to go places and hang out and enjoy the state or the island or wherever we are, right? So that was great. So now, vacations. You have to think about it. If you plan a vacation, right? So my wife's family just came down they were here for the Easter vacation. So they came from South America. Now, in places like South America, it's warm here. We're getting our summertime here, but over there, they're getting their winter. So if you're in the United States and you plan a vacation to go somewhere like South America, you have to think that it's getting cold down there. So those are the things you really have to think about. That's why, like in August and Disney and places like that are so jam packed with people from South America or other countries, because it's getting cold. So up here it's warm. In Florida it's nice and warm, and it's packed. So vacations, you can plan, and you better hope you have the money to spend, because the money nowadays to spend on a vacation is unbelievable. Unbelievable, especially if you have little ones. If you don't, God bless you. God bless you that you can go to nice places and just enjoy yourselves and enjoy the place that you're at. They can become a headache. Because then the kids get sick or you get sick from being in those places. And that's what I'm saying. You can either have a great time or you can have a bad time. But you know what? It's going to happen, because it's a change of weather, change of climate, change of all that stuff. And you're not acclimated to those settings. So you are going to get sick because you're not used to that stuff. Especially when it comes to heat, the change of heat, or reverse, and you go somewhere to the Swiss Alps and you go skiing, or you do whatever around the world, or you go to Paris, or you go to London, or you go somewhere where the weather's you're going to get sick. Or when you come home, you're going to get sick. It's just, that's the way it is. Because you're either going to get sick on the plane, or, your sniffles, you're going to, and people, it just happens. Okay. So you have to protect yourselves. One other thing is that if you go to other countries or other places in the world where you stay at an Airbnb, just be careful. I'm just saying, I'm not pushing. I've stayed in the Airbnbs. I like them. Are they? I like them to a point where I think you have privacy, but you kind of don't. We were in Maryland last 4th of July. The place was fantastic. The house was beautiful. We had our own swimming pool. Great time. Our little guy, we took him to like a Great Adventures type thing in Maryland. Great. We had an awesome time. But the person who owned the house was right there, like right next door. It was whatever. So I didn't want to get too deep into that, but it wasn't cool. But just make sure you do your research before you go. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you read the reviews and all that stuff before you go on any vacation, right? And just be careful. My thing, especially in countries that don't have a certain, in my last episode, I talked about the little carbon monoxide detectors. They sell them, even plugins, it doesn't hurt. Take one with you on vacation and plug it into the wall, because there are a lot of places that have, boilers and stuff in the rooms, and they don't have the, just take it. Because I've heard some tragic stories in the past few months about, families not making it because of carbon monoxide poisoning and stuff. That's not cool, man. I would hate that for anyone. But anyway, on the happy note, vacations are fantastic. But you know what? Again, I was talking about vacations where they're expensive, like super expensive, right? If you have, listen, we all work hard for what we want, and we all do the things that we're going to do regardless, but it's expensive. Right. Because then at the end of the day, there should be no complaining when you go on vacation, because you plan. That's why you plan for it. You save the money, you plan for it, and you went and you had a great time. But then when you come back, you're like, oh my God, I spent $50,000 on this and that and champagne, whatever. But that's because you had a great time and you planned it and you did it, and whatever, c'est la vie. Because what can you do? You only live one time, so why not enjoy it, right? Don't worry about that headache. Now, for those, and I've been there before, sometimes it's hard to explain again to your little ones. This isn't only about the little guys, but you have to think about them. My thing too is when you go away on vacation and you have pets, guess what? You have to find someone to watch your pet. And they're not going to do it for free. Some do it for free. We have friends that are fantastic. They're like, absolutely no problem, which, listen, we're so thankful. But at the end of the day, which is okay with us, we get them a little something because they did us a favor, right? But some people who have 2, 3, 4, 5 dogs, you got to find a place, a shelter or something or have somebody come to your house, which some people really don't like people coming to their house and whatever. That's your prerogative. But they have shelters and they have all this other stuff. So, and then you can, go on vacation. But guess what? We're, oh my God, I wonder how Max or Izzy or Maxie is doing it, and things like that. And people, they're your little kids. They're your children, whether you have kids or not. They're your kids, right? You're worried about them. Oh my God. And then, hi, I'm just checking up on Max. You're not going to enjoy your vacation. That's how it is. That's how people are. They're just like, oh my God, I'm not going to enjoy my vacation because I'm afraid that she might poop on the floor. And okay. So that's another thing, right? Still, you're going to spend money regardless of how you think about it. Now, for those, and I've been there before, and it only breaks my heart because there's people out there that they see their cousins who, like your families, they see cousins or they see, the kids that are their age and stuff. And they're like, oh, they're going to Spain or they're going to Europe or they're going to China or they're going wherever. Why can't we go? And it's heartbreaking. One, some people have more than others, and whether you try your best to please your family or you try to please your partners in going away on vacations. Some people really can't do it. So what do? You do a staycation. Staycation is you're staying home for your vacation. Well, technically not staying home. Some people do because then the staycation turns into a mommy do list or a daddy do list, and you got to paint and you got to fix this that's been broken for 15 years, and you have to go out there and fix that light bulb that's been busted for 40 years and all that other stuff, right? That's the type of things that we do. Or, hey, let me prepare the grill because we have Memorial Day coming up and 4th of July is around the corner and Labor Day is whipping around. So we do that, right? Cut the yard, make it all look nice, get plants and get everything, get a sprinkler system going, right? Seed the yard, all that good stuff, right? On another note, when you do a staycation, they sometimes turn out great because there are a lot of things and a lot of places to go locally that for myself, I've been living in New York for the last 50 years. I would say 50, yeah, like 40, 50 years, right? My thing is that there's so many activities and there's so many things to do out in New York City. I've never been to half those places. And they're like, oh my God, you've ever been to no. Why? Silly, go there. Never been there. Like on a Circle Line. I've never been to the Circle Line. My family went with the family that came from South America. That was like, it's fantastic. It was great. The only thing it was like cold and it was like drizzly and raining, but it was a great time. And they went here and I'm like, no, never did it. So the staycation could actually turn out to something positive and good, right? But again, it's going to be, especially here in New York, you can plan for, you could stay and be like, oh, let's go out here and go out there. But the thing is that you're coming back home. You're not staying at a hotel. You're not staying at an Airbnb, and you're not going to a 4-star restaurant. You're not going here. So those things change. But if you do plan, I usually plan, in advance. Like I'll do something small, like let's say a jump castle for the kids, or I'll go on a Tuesday to break up the week, or on a Wednesday to break up the week, and then maybe go see a movie, and then go to a nice little restaurant, and then at the end of the week maybe go to like a water park or go to like Great Adventure or somewhere where you can go. But staycation, see, it's not always around the summertime. They can do it around the winter. Like in the wintertime, we went to the Poconos and we went tubing. We went snow tubing for a night, and we did a couple other. See, you have to plan. That's where planning comes in. You can save money. You can go on things like Groupon, or you can go on things like I was getting older, and I made a joke that AARP sent me all this stuff to save money here, there, rent a car, and all this other stuff. And then when I go to use it, I couldn't use it because it was like, don't get me wrong, a percentage is a percentage. Not all the time is the percentages that you want, but I mean, like 4%, 5%, like does whatever. I'm gonna save $4, woo, or I'm gonna save $14, wow, But still, a little bit here, a little bit there goes a long way. But planning, right? Planning, I think, is the biggest obstacle, because you got to plan where to go, who you going with, how much is going to cost. You got to notify your company or your boss and let them know, hey, is there a conflict? If you're with a partner, do they have the same time off as you? Can they get the same time? All that plays a huge role, and it's something you drive yourself nuts. There are people out there, little vacation planners, that do all that stuff for you to find planes and all that other stuff. Now, this year for ourselves, like, we really don't have too much going on for vacations because my wife and I have different schedules and stuff. I have my son doing some sports activities and stuff that are kind of luring away from all the other stuff we're going to do. But we're going to take a trip toward the end of August, right? And the planning was to fly, because it's not far, but to fly. And I don't want to scare anyone. You do what you have to do. Don't say Big C was like, don't do it. You do it. I'm not telling you to do it. You go right ahead and do what you need to do, right? But my wife and I were like, listen, let's not fly because of all the little things that are going on, these little weird accidents and all that other stuff. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, fine. So we're going to drive. We're going to rent the car. We're going to drive. That's how I like it. We're going to get there. We're going to have fun. We're still going to do what we need to do. I'd rather sometimes play it safe and, God forbid, be sorry. But again, listen, don't you do what you need to do. Don't listen to me. This is me. We're talking about Big C. This how I plan my vacations. So those are the things we're planning on doing. Something crazy, not too crazy. We have Memorial Day coming up right around the corner. So we'll probably do a little something with family event. 4th of July is another thing. We'll probably go to a nice beach. We'll plan it for the day. We'll do something. We're going to do something, those summertime activities, right? I did want to, and this was during COVID. We're going back a little ways where everybody bought a pool and you couldn't even buy a pool. There was a certain time where there were pools that were like, nope, we don't have any more. I'm sorry. So I found one really cheap, and all I had to do was find an installer. I had the installer company was like, we're ready. And I chickened out. I didn't chicken out. I'm like, how many times we're going to use the pool? And it's true. When you work so many hours or you do so many things and you come home and you see the pool out there on a nice hot day, you're like, all right, go on for a little while. And you come in. It's like, it's like you some people say, oh, when you get a pool, you got to clean it more than you're in it. So, but those who already have a pool and enjoy your pool, thank God. I wish I was you. But, don't let me stop you from buying a pool. But that was my thing, and we never did it. And then I wish we did. Stupid me. I wish we did buy a pool, but it is what it is. But again, there's always times and there's always things for your vacation planning to do it, you can't always plan and get everything right. There's always going to be if you plan a vacation and you're going to Europe, there's going to be a delay. Somebody's going to forget a luggage piece. So there's always an issue with, or you're going to go to the country and this thing. The most important thing is when you plan and you go on vacation is to have a good time. Unwind from all the BS that you go through every single day. All the BS, tune it out. You're on vacation, enjoy where you are, because, again, we're on this earth just one time. And when all that's over, it's gonna be I'm sorry to say, I don't mean to be mean, it's gonna be a different vacation. But I'm just saying, like, enjoy yourselves, all right? You see me, I'm ready to go. Where are we going today? I don't know. We got to go somewhere. Let me know if you do at the end of this podcast. Let me know in the comments, what's great, where are great places. I've been to places in the winter, water parks, where they have upstate New York. They have water parks and they have a casino right down the road. They have a water park / hotel right there, and it was a great time. In the summertime, we went upstate camping. Fantastic. The kids went ape crap. They loved it. They loved it. I love seeing my nephews or my son and having a great time. That's what it's all about. Camping around a campfire, doing marshmallows, s'mores, just having a good old time, letting them know that right in the backyard is where it is too. You don't have to go cross country or across the world to have a great time. You can just do it in your backyard, or you can do it at a friend's house, or you can do it not too far, just a little drive and go camping and listen, it was awesome. We went tubing, we went fishing, awesome. So again, it's not molded. This segment's not molded around going on vacation with kids, but I was adding that, that part in there because I have kids, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people who are listening to my podcast that have children as well. And you know what we're talking about on vacation, okay? And then it's funny because when we come back home, you're like, there's no place like home. But and then you got to start cleaning and unpacking and washing and all that other stuff. So guess what? You're going right back to work when you end. Then you need a vacation from the vacation, right? Because that's how we all are at the end. We're like, oh my God, it's too much. We had too much fun, but it's over and now back. And then what do we say? Damn, I got to go back to work on Monday. Because it's the truth. It's the God's honest truth. Damn, I got to go here Monday. I don't want to be here. Let's go back on vacation. But anyway, I think that is my time. If you get the opportunity, please go on to YouTube or go on to my TikTok page, like, subscribe, and make comments. I love your comments. Just keep bringing those bad boys in, all right? And again, be safe. Enjoy your vacation. Enjoy your time. Don't do anything that your stomach tells you not to do. Like, don't go swimming with sharks because something might happen. Or, don't go for a night swim because you're a little tipsy and you want to go into the water at nighttime and go skinny dipping. No, don't do silly things like that, all right? Keep yourself safe, all right? Enjoy. That's what it's all about. Enjoy your vacation. Have fun. I hope you guys, if you're planning vacation, I hope it's a good one. If you go on a cruise and that's your first time and you enjoy whatever, let me know. Send me a comment. Let me know that I had a great time. Or Big C, I'll never do it again. We're going to be on that. I ain't going again on a cruise with you. So, I feel you. All right. So it's my time. I'm Big C. Peace.